At Christmas dinner, Mother gave Natalia a car as a gift and then turned to me. You get the memories. That's enough for someone like you. Father laughed. She's always been bad luck and too naive to notice we use her money. I stayed silent, just smiled, and handed them a single sheet of paper. When they finished reading it, they couldn't breathe. Is this a joke? I asked, looking at the keys in Natalia's hand. Mother didn't even look at me. She was too busy helping my sister take selfies next to the new seat Leon parked outside, wrapped in a giant red bow, like in a TV commercial. It's not a joke, she said sweetly, finally turning to me. Natalia deserves it. She's worked so hard this year. And I asked, my voice not trembling yet. Mother smiled, took a sip of her wine, and replied, You get the memories. That's enough for someone like you. Father roared with laughter from his recliner. Yes, memories and bills. She's always been a misfortune. Natalia snorted, and too naive to realize where her money goes. I clenched my jaw, but didn't say a word. I just sat there, holding the wrapped box I'd brought, personalized Christmas ornaments with everyone's names engraved. Pathetic. The room filled again with laughter, jokes, Natalia squealing, Mother delighted, Father pouring himself another drink. No one noticed I hadn't moved, that I was looking at them like strangers, still holding that box like it meant something. Then I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out a folded sheet of paper. I placed it on the table in front of Mother. What's that? Natalia asked between selfies. Read it, I said softly. Mother unfolded the paper with a manicured hand, still smiling, but the smile faded. What is this? Father asked, coming closer. You can't be serious. Natalia grabbed it, read 2 lines, and threw it back like it was poison. And, just like that, the laughter died. No one said a word. No one could, because what they'd just read changed everything. She's always been a giver, Mother used to say. Only she forgot to mention that in this family, the givers get eaten alive. I didn't grow up feeling poor. I grew up feeling replaceable. Natalia was the favorite even before she could spell her name. It was like the world revolved around her. Every dance recital, every dentist appointment, every tantrum, she was the center of gravity. I was the shadow, the afterthought, the one who should know better. It's your little sister, Clara. You have to share, Mother would say when Natalia broke my things. You're the older one, set an example, Father would say when Natalia lied and I got blamed. I started working at 16 to help with the groceries. They didn't ask, they expected it. Natalia got a car for her birthday. I got a ride to work and a passive-aggressive comment about taking on responsibilities. But I didn't complain, not even when Mother guilt-tripped me into helping with Natalia's university applications, not when Father asked me to co-sign the loan for her advanced degree, just for now. Not even when Natalia dropped out after a semester and spent the loan money on a trip to Ibiza. You're such a killjoy, she told me when I found out. What were you going to do with that money anyway? You don't even have a boyfriend. I should have walked away then. But I didn't. I kept paying. When Natalia got her first apartment, I helped with the rent. When she left her job for mental health, I covered her phone bill, groceries, even her therapy. You're doing God's work, Mother would say, half joking. Honestly, it's so generous of you. You've always had such a soft heart, unlike me. That was the game. They praised me just enough to keep me paying, manipulated me with guilt just enough to keep me from leaving. You don't have kids, Father would remind me. You have more freedom than the rest of us. Translation, you don't need your money, so give it to those who do, like Natalia. Even when I moved out, they didn't stop. Mother called it a phase and mailed me Natalia's electricity bill. Can you cover this, just until she starts her new job? Spoiler, there was no new job. I covered it anyway. When Natalia got engaged, I paid for her bachelorette party. And when the wedding came, I bought her the €10,000 espresso machine she'd put on her gift list, even though she doesn't even drink coffee. She opened it in front of everyone and said, Oh, I thought it would be the upgraded model. Father chuckled and muttered, still stingy. That hurt, but not as much as last month when Mother casually told me that the down payment on Natalia's new apartment had come from family savings. I blinked. What family savings? She waved her hand dismissively. Oh, honey, it's the account we've always had. The one you've been depositing into since you started working at Ortega and Associates. You knew it was for everyone, right? No. No, I didn't. Natalia stood beside her, grinning like it was a joke. Technically, I'm part of the family, so thanks, I guess. I felt something inside me shift. It didn't crack, it shattered. That day, I didn't say anything. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't storm out. But I went home and opened my laptop. I spent 3 nights going through old bank statements, BISM records, credit card movements. Every euro I'd sent them, every bill I'd paid, every favor I'd covered, I documented it all. The number made my stomach churn. 67,392 euros and 14 cents. That's what I'd given them since I turned 21. With that money, they'd bought a car, booked vacations, remodeled the guest bathroom. All with money that had come out of my account. Money I'd worked 60-hour weeks for. And not once had they said thank you. But they'd laughed. I remembered Father laughing when I didn't get the promotion. I remembered Natalia saying, "You're good with money, but not people." I remembered Mother's voice, smooth and smug, "You know you'll always be our safety net." That's when I knew. They didn't love me, they used me. And this Christmas, this Seat Leon charade, was their way of spitting in my face with a smile. So I stopped crying and started printing and planning. I am not your bank. I am not your doormat. I am not your safety net. I'm done being quiet. Read the paper. You'll understand. Christmas Eve. Candlelight. Gold plates. Napkins folded like swans. Natalia in a red velvet dress. Father on his 3rd drink. Mother humming while carving fake ham. Every detail curated. Me, sitting at the table like an extra guest, my name written in cursive on a card, my presence acknowledged with polite nods, as though a waiter had mistakenly let me in. And then the moment came. Mother stood, holding a box with a huge satin bow. "This," she said, beaming, "is for Natalia, for everything she's accomplished this year." Natalia clapped like a seal. "Oh my God, is this? Is it?" "It is," Mother replied, handing her the keys. Father raised his glass. "To our golden girl." Everyone applauded. Then Mother turned to me. "And for you, dear." She reached into her purse and pulled out not a gift, but a dusty photo of me as a baby, wearing a tinsel hat. "You get the memories. That's enough for someone like you." I blinked, just once. Father laughed. "She's always been a misfortune, and too naive to notice we use her money." The table erupted in laughter. Natalia giggled, "But seriously, Clara, you should be proud. You basically bought me a car." Something inside me snapped completely. I reached into my coat pocket. "Wait," I said, standing up before dessert. "I have a gift too." I placed the folded document on the table, printed on thick, cream-colored paper. "What is this?" Mother asked, already annoyed. "Read it," I replied. She rolled her eyes, but opened it anyway. Father leaned in. Natalia peered over her shoulder. Their faces changed, line by line. First confusion, then disbelief, then panic. This is a full expense report?" Father mumbled. "Since when, you?" "Since always," I interrupted. "Every euro I gave you, every bill I paid, every emergency loan you never returned, every trip you booked under the guise of shared family savings. You kept track of all that?" Mother whispered, her voice low and venomous. "Of course I did. I'm the responsible one, remember." Natalia snatched the paper and scanned it as if looking for lies. "This is insane. You're obsessed." "No," I said. "I was loyal. Until tonight." Father slammed his glass on the table. "And what is this supposed to prove?" "That I know," I replied calmly. That I finally see you for who you are. Mother's jaw tightened. Don't start with this drama here. It's Christmas. Oh, you mean the day you gifted my sister a seat, Leon, and called me bad luck? You're overreacting, Natalia said, waving her hand. You've always helped. It's your thing. You're good at it. No, I snapped. I'm done. I am not your thing. I am not your bank. I am not your backup plan. You're being cruel, Mother said. We're family. No, I said louder. You're a group of people I'm related to, and that's it. Father's face turned red. You're ungrateful. We raised you. Did you really? I laughed bitterly. Or did you just tolerate me? I paid the bills. Mother stood up, pale. Where is all this coming from? Where? I asked, pulling out my phone. From this. I pressed play on a voice recording. Their voices filled the room, clear as day, laughing, mocking, repeating the same phrases they'd said minutes earlier. Bad luck. Naive. We use her money. I recorded it. I wanted you to hear yourselves. The room went silent. Natalia looked like she was about to be sick. Father stared at his empty glass. Mother's lips moved, but no words came out. And then I delivered the final blow. You said I get the memories, I said quietly. Well, here's one you won't forget. I'm cutting you off. Natalia gasped. You're joking. I stepped back. No more bills. No more bailouts. No more saving you from yourselves. I've transferred the rest of the family savings into a trust. It's locked. You can't touch a cent. You? What? Father stammered. I've also sent this report to your tax advisor, I added, just in case you try to play games with my taxes again. And Natalia, I turned to her. That new car is in your name, but I paid the insurance with my card. I just canceled it. She stood up, panicking. You can't do that. You're going to ruin everything. No, I said. I'm just refusing to be part of this anymore. And then I smiled for the first time in years. I smiled for myself. And I walked out, leaving them standing there, stunned, breathless, and drowning in the consequences. They didn't think I'd do it. They thought I was bluffing. But when the money stopped, the panic started. And when I stopped answering, they fell apart. The morning after Christmas was so quiet it felt unreal. No shouting. No phone vibrating every 3 seconds. No demands disguised as concern. I made coffee, poured it into my favorite chipped mug, curled up by the window, and watched the snow piling up on the railing like nothing had happened. But then I opened my phone. 37 messages. 16 from Mother. 11 from Father. 10 from Natalia. And not a single one said sorry. Just blame. Just anger. Just desperate attempts to regain control. How could you ruin the holidays like this? She's always been so dramatic. This isn't you. Natalia hasn't stopped crying. You humiliated her in front of the whole family. What's wrong with you? I swiped and swiped until I reached Father's voicemail. Short. Cold. A whisper through gritted teeth. You made your point. Come to your senses. I didn't reply. Instead, I wrapped myself in a blanket and went back to watching the snow fall. And, for the first time in years, I felt peace. Real peace. Not that temporary peace that comes after stifling a fight. Not the fake quiet of everything's fine. But the peace that comes when you burn the bridge and don't regret it. That peace lasted 3 days. On the 4th day, someone knocked on the door. I opened it. It was Natalia. Red eyes. Smudged eyeliner. Lips trembling under poorly applied lipstick. In her hands, she held a box. One of those family photo albums Mother used to make in the early 2000s. She clutched it like it could rewrite the past. I brought this to remind you we're family, she said quietly. I looked at her like a stranger, because she was. A photo album doesn't make you family, I replied. It just makes you visible on paper. Her eyes glistened. I saw the old Natalia trying to push through the tears, the manipulator, the actress. But then it flickered out, and for a second, I saw something different. Are you really going to cut us off? Forever. she whispered. Just like that. I tilted my head. It wasn't just like that. You spent 10 years building the case. I'm just delivering the sentence. She stood there, unsure whether to cry or scream. But she didn't argue. She left the album on my doorstep and walked away. That night, I got a call from my lawyer. Your father tried to access the family savings account this morning, he said. He used an old authorization form with a forged signature. My stomach churned, but not with surprise. With disgust. I blocked it, the lawyer added. The account is completely frozen. They can't touch a cent. I let out a soft laugh. Perfect. The next morning, I got another call. Blocked number. I answered on instinct. Clara? It's Miguel. My cousin's husband. Their tax advisor. I hope I'm not overstepping, he said nervously. But your father is trying to claim to the tax office that everything you gave them was a gift to avoid paying taxes. I sighed. Of course he is. I wanted you to know because, well, I know how they've treated you. I've seen it for years. I should have said something sooner. My throat tightened a little. Miguel. The discreet one. The neutral one. Finally taking a side. My side. Thank you, I said, and I meant it. But it didn't end there. 3 days later, Mother sent a mass email to the entire family, titled, What Clara Did. I opened it. I shouldn't have, but I did. It was a 3-paragraph essay about how I'd shamed the family, disrespected tradition, and abandoned those who raised me. It ended with, We still love Clara. We hope she regains her sanity soon. I didn't reply, but I saw that no one else did either. Not a single cousin, not an aunt, not even grandma. No one replied. And that silence said more than any response could have. Meanwhile, I was busy doing something completely unfamiliar to my family, living. I took a leave from work, booked a small cottage in a lakeside village in Asturias, where no one knew me and I owed nothing to anyone. I brought books, blank notebooks, oversized sweaters, zero guilt. I opened a new bank account, in my name only. I painted badly. I cooked soup from scratch. I cried one night, not because I missed them, but because I realized how long I'd carried them like a weight I thought I deserved. I slept better in that little cottage than I ever had in the house I'd paid for but was never welcomed in. A week into the trip, another surprise arrived. Teresa, my aunt, showed up at the door. She didn't knock. She just stood there with a homemade cake in her hands, like it was a peace treaty. I let her in. I knew something like this was going to happen, she said, sitting at the table like she'd lived there all her life. I just didn't know it was going to be you who finally did it. Did what? Stopped pretending, she said. I blinked. Your mother called me, you know. Crying, saying you broke her heart. But I just thought, finally, someone broke the cycle. I looked at her, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel alone. She reached across the table and took my hand. I wish I'd done what you did, years ago. And then, the final twist. 3 weeks after Christmas, I got a letter. Not an email, not a text. A real letter. From Natalia. The handwriting was shaky, but it was hers. Clara, I don't know how to say this without it sounding like I want something. I know I've been cruel. I know I treated you like a safety net. I thought that was love, or maybe I just didn't care. But you said something that night, and I've been thinking about it every day since. You said, I am not your thing. And for the first time, I saw it. I saw what we turned you into. I don't expect your forgiveness, but I want to try to become someone you might be able to stand being around again. I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. I didn't reply. Not yet. But I read it twice, then again. And for once, her voice didn't sound entitled. It sounded human. They told me I was cold, selfish, ungrateful. But what they really meant was, I don't like who you are when you stop letting us use you. It's been 3 months since that dinner. 3 months since I dropped the paper that left them breathless. Since I told them I was done. Since I closed the door behind me and didn't flinch when no one followed. And the strangest thing? I don't miss them. Not even a little. No. I didn't get any "we're proud of you" speeches. No heartfelt apologies. No tearful reunion with violins in the background. What I got instead was silence. And it's the sweetest thing I've ever heard. For the first time, I've stopped living in reaction. I no longer check my phone, waiting for a crisis. I no longer tense up before opening an email. I no longer calculate how much of my paycheck I can afford to give away without being called stingy. Now I wake up and think, what do I want to do today? Not, what does Natalia need? Not, what bill is mother behind on? Not, what fake emergency are they going to burden me with this time? Just me. And maybe that sounds small, but when your entire identity was built on being helpful, accommodating, selfless, choosing yourself feels like a rebellion. They still try, sometimes. Last week I got a text from Father. Father, hope you're doing better. Natalia's car insurance lapsed again. Just so you know. I stared at it for a full minute. Then I replied, me, just so you know, I don't care. He hasn't written back since. Mother tried the guilt route in February. Mother, we're thinking of selling the house. Thought maybe you'd want to keep it in the family. Translation. Please pay for it so we don't have to downsize. I left her on read. But here's the twist no one saw coming. Not even me. Natalia started therapy. Real therapy. Not the kind she used to mention for pity points. The real, dig deep, confront your demons, force you to look in the mirror kind. She sent me a second letter. I'm not asking for a relationship. I'm asking for the chance to become someone who might deserve one. And you know what? I believe her. Not because I'm naive. Not because I'm soft. But because, for once, she didn't ask for money, or help, or forgiveness. Just a chance. And that matters. I've learned something no one taught me as a girl. Love without respect is manipulation. Family without boundaries is a trap. And loyalty without reciprocity is slavery. And I am done playing the fool. I used to think walking away from your family was failure. Now I know it's freedom. They raised me to believe I owed them everything. But they were wrong. Being a parent doesn't entitle you to sainthood just because you had kids. Sharing blood doesn't entitle you to demand loyalty. Respect is earned, and they lost mine years ago. I wish things had been different. Maybe. But wishing won't give me my money back. Wishing won't erase the nights I cried silently while they laughed in the next room. Wishing won't undo my politely scarred heart. So no, I don't regret what I did. I regret how long it took me to do it. The truth is simple. They had a daughter, a sister, a savior. And they turned her into a wallet, a babysitter, a financial plan. And now they have none of those things. But I have me. And finally, that's enough.